This is a beginner tutorial on Pioneer DJ Rekordbox. Getting started with Rekordbox. So let's get started with Rekordbox.
Consider subscribing if you already haven't and hit the bell button so you don't miss anything.
Hey guys, welcome to a new video. How are you doing? I hope you are doing marvelously well. This video is a Rekordbox tutorial about how to get started with Rekordbox. It's a let's get started for beginners. So if you're already familiar with Rekordbox, you can skip this video. What is Rekordbox and why should you use it? Rekordbox is the management software of Pioneer to use in your CDJs. What you can do, of course, is slap your MP3 files on a USB stick and plug them into your CDJs, for example. But if you analyze them with Rekordbox and make playlists, you have some more advantages, like, for example, if you have a genre playlist, you can select the genres. If you have analyzed the beat grid, so you know which count is the first count, so you can really easy use the sync button, for example. That is stuff that you can do with Rekordbox, so you have an advantage when you use Rekordbox. What is the difference between Rekordbox and Rekordbox DJ? Pioneer has a name-giving convention that is a little bit confusing, I know. There's a distinct difference between Rekordbox and Rekordbox DJ. Rekordbox is the management software, so you can make playlists, analyze your songs, make sure that the first count is on the first beat in the beat grid on your CDJs also. But with Rekordbox DJ you can perform, so you can play songs with a controller, for example. So instead of using your CDJs, you can use the software Rekordbox as Rekordbox DJ and then you can perform. For Rekordbox DJ you need a separate license. The Rekordbox is free. And to make it even more confusing, Rekordbox DJ is integrated in Rekordbox. It's the same software. If you download Rekordbox, Rekordbox DJ is secretly already in that software. You can't access it because you need a license key for that. If you have a license key, then you get an extra option in the software so you can use the performance mode of Rekordbox, and that performance mode is Rekordbox DJ. So here it is, getting started with Rekordbox beginners tutorial. We have to download Rekordbox first before we can use it. So we go to the website rekordbox.com and there is an item on there, download Rekordbox 5 for free. Yes, I agree, download, and we'll now download. We have to unzip the file, that is now unzipped, now we can install it. Now we have to fill in our credentials. Now we are presented with two options. You can choose the export mode or the performance mode. As I stated before, the export mode is your management mode, so Rekordbox, and the performance mode is Rekordbox DJ. We'll choose the export mode. Kuvo, no. Rekordbox gives you the option to install the necessary drivers for their equipment, so their Pioneer DJ controllers, DJ controllers, or your CDJs or your DJM mixer. But for now we're gonna skip this. Now we have started Rekordbox. Let's first explain what the different screen elements are. First of all, on top we have the player. Then here on the left we have our playlists, and on the right bottom we have our tracks. As I said before, Rekordbox and Rekordbox DJ are in the same software. You can switch by clicking here to the export mode, the performance mode, and the lightning mode. The lightning mode is new in Rekordbox 5. The performance mode is Rekordbox DJ. And as you'll see, that is somewhat of a different layout than Rekordbox, the management software. The management software Rekordbox is the export mode. What we can do, there are a couple of different ways you can import songs in Rekordbox. First you can say File, Import, and import one track or a folder or import a playlist. What I'm gonna do now is import a folder. It's really easy to have one dedicated folder for all your DJ music. The problem is if you want to move your Rekordbox library later on or move to a new computer, you buy a new computer for example, it's easier to move that library over if all the stuff is in one place. If it's scattered all over the hard drive, you have to find all your individual songs. And take it from me, that is a really annoying task. So, import folder, and I'm gonna search for the import folder that I want to use. Then I'm gonna search for my music, DJ music, and I have all my stuff that I want to import in the 2010 folder. Let's open it, and Rekordbox starts to import all the songs. Rekordbox 5 and 4 have some screen real estate problems. You can see over here, if you have a bigger screen than me, bigger than 13-inch, you can see it says analyzing 1000 and something songs. You can also see what he's doing because here, over here it says 0%, and somewhere over here you will find what he is doing. 99%. If it's done, you'll see, if you have album art, you see the album art here, and you'll see the waveform over here. Let's first wait for that import process to complete. Now that the import is done, I'm going to show you another way how to import songs in Rekordbox. I'm going to Finder and I'm going to select a couple of songs. And now I'm gonna drag them over to Rekordbox. And you'll see that Rekordbox starts to import those songs. Okay, now let's make some playlists. A playlist is basically a logical grouping of songs. That means that you can group songs in a playlist so you can easily find them. For example, you can make a playlist for a certain event, or you can make a playlist per genre, for example. You can do that over here on the left side of the screen. Over here you see playlists. To add a new playlist, just press the plus button and you are prompted to make a new playlist. My new playlist. Make it a name that you are finding useful. What I do a lot of playlists per genre. So let's make one, let's make an electro house. What we now can do is we can select different items. I'm just pressing the command button and I'm clicking on the songs. And now I can drag them over to my new playlist, or I can drag some other songs to Electro House. And when you look in the Electro House folder, you will see Electro House and you will see over here my new playlist. It's really easy to have some more structure. So what you can do is make a folder, and I right click on playlist and I say create new folder. And I say, for example, what I'll do is I will give it the name of the year. So the 2010 directory. And you can make, of course, another playlist in that, or you can drag your existing playlists over here. By the way, it's not a problem to have your songs in multiple playlists. For example, again, faster, I can drag that to another playlist, or I can drag that to my new playlist. No problem at all. If you want to find your songs, you can search them. You can search with the search box over here. You can search in a playlist, but you can also search through your whole collection. In my case, I want to search in my collection, so collection is selected. Now I search for hello, and all the songs with hello will show up. But when I select another playlist, there is only, again, faster in here. I will search for hello, you will see nothing turns up. And if you want to delete your search, you can click the cross icon over here. For more videos about DJing and producing, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button to stay updated. When we go back to collection, it is possible that you don't see the exact columns that I have over here. What you can do is right click on one of the headers over here, right click, and then you will see that there pops up a screen, and in that screen you can select which columns you want to see. The columns with a V in front of it, those are checked, and that means that these are showing in your overview. Let's say that I want to have the album artist added also. I say album artist, and you will see album artist is added over here. You can drag those columns if you want to have that somewhere else. If you want to listen to the song, you can click on the waveform, and then it will jump to the part of the waveform that you are clicking. In my case, you won't hear anything, because if I let you hear what I have in my collection, I will get a copyright slap on the fingers of YouTube, so I won't do that. And you can stop the song by pressing the stop button in front of the track. You can load a song in the player by double clicking on the description, not on the preview, not on the waveform, because then it will jump into that part of the song. Double click it, and then you'll see that it is loaded in the player. By the way, if you see two players, there is an option over here that you can switch between, and it says now one player, so that is this view. But I can switch if I want to two players. Then I have two players, one over here and one over here, and I can drag some song in player 2 if I want to. Now you can see I have two songs underneath each other. I can also have a view of a simple player, that is this over here, or I can have the view of a full browser without any players. I will switch to the one player for now, because I want to show you something. I have Crazy for Love over here. On the top you'll see the album art, the title of the song, the artist of the song, the length of the song, the key of the song, and this is a Camelot key. Otherwise you will have A minor or B major or something over here. This is the BPM, the beats per minute. Again, you can click somewhere on that waveform and it jumps in the player over here to that waveform. When we look at the part below that upper waveform, we will see a large view of that wave. You can even make it larger if we click over here, and we can zoom out if we want, if we click over here. If this is annoying, then we can click it to the left, and if it's not displayed, we can click it over to the right here. You can order tracks by dragging them up or down. That's only possible in a playlist, so it's not possible in a collection. Just grab it and move it up or move it down, for example. So you can make a list in the order that you want. The next thing that I want to show you is hot cues and cue points. The difference between a hot cue and a cue point is a hot cue is directly, immediately accessible, and a cue point is not. A cue point you can use to mark certain differences in a song between, for example, the break or a drop or the intro or the outro, and a hot cue you can immediately access, so it immediately jumps to that point in a song. That way you can skip parts of a song, for example, but you can also use it to recall a fraction of a song and jump immediately back to the point that you were playing before. You can have 10 cue points in a song and 3 hot cues. I say 3 because on the older CDJs, the CDJ 2000 Nexus and the models before, have only 3 hot cues. The newer models, the Nexus 2 and other DJ controllers, for example, have 8 hot cues. But if you want to stay compatible with the older players, then you have only 3 hot cues at your disposal. When we want to set hot cues or cue points, we first have to load in a song in the player. In the one player mode, and that's over here, in the one player mode, and we double click on the description, then it will load in the song. And I want to start with the cue points. Now we are over here. This is the grid of the song, but I want to go to cue and loop. Now I can say I want to set cue points, for example, to mark the difference between the break and the drop. So I will play this song. And I want to set the cue. Now I click on memory, and then the first memory point is set. How can we see if it's set? Well, you see on the right side, you see memory is lit up here. If you want to go to hot cues, what the hot cues are in a song, we can click this item, but we are now in the memory tab. That is for the cue points. We can set a name for a cue point. The first cue point is on the beginning of the song. Rekordbox sets that automatically. That's the first one. Let's give it a name. Names are, by the way, totally optional. And this is the break, for example. And we can set another cue point over here. Then we have to drag again to the right, then say play, and now set cue, so it jumps to the first beat. Now drag it, if we want, to the left, then set again memory, and you'll see it will show up here. Now we have set a cue point for the drop, but if it is not the correct point, we made a mistake, for example, when we drag the screen again to the left, then we see that the right of those names is a X icon. You can press the X icon. For example, if I want to delete this point, I will say X, and this is gone. I will say X again, and now this cue point is also gone. But I want to set it again, so I say memory, and I will set it again for the break. Now I can switch between those cue points by saying this left arrow and right arrow. Now I jump back a cue point, and when I say left again, it will jump back again a cue point. There's also a X button over here, and that of course removes the current cue point. Now let's head over to the hot cues. How to set the hot cues. I will select the hot cue tab over here so I can see what hot cues I already set. You see that over here are the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H. What I can do, if I set a hot cue over here, when I say that is my hot cue A, then I click this button and you'll see hot cue A is over here. I want to set hot cue B, for example, over here. Let's cue it. No, that's not right. I want to have it here. And I set hot cue B over here. And when I, for example, want hot cue C over here, cue it C. But, oh, I made a mistake. How do I remove them again? Again, you can press the X button over here, or there is an X button with the hot cue over here. I press this X. Now let's export stuff to our USB thumb drive. I do not go deep into details about exporting to USB. I made a separate video about exporting to USB. I will link it up in a card above. There are some things that you have to be aware of. I'll put my thumb drive into my computer, and you will see, I will drag the screen a little bit to the left over here. You will see that my 16 gigabyte USB stick is over here. There are no tracks on it, but I can say, for example, I want an entire playlist. I want these 6 songs of this playlist. I want to have them on my USB thumb drive. I'll right click on the playlist and I'll say export playlist to my 16 gigabyte thumb drive. Then it shows me a message, don't ask me again, okay. And at the bottom of the screen you will see a progress bar. Now my exporting is done. What I can do is remove the thumb drive, but don't pull it out of your computer immediately. When you try to eject your USB thumb drive the regular way via Windows or via the Mac, that won't work. Your USB thumb drive is taken hostage by Rekordbox. You need to eject it from Rekordbox. There is no other way around. Eject it from Rekordbox by using this button, remove USB thumb drive. I'll click it. And now I can safely remove my USB thumb drive. And now we can put the USB thumb drive in the CDJ. It will do nothing now, but if you select USB on the CDJ, then you'll see that it displays a message. My settings data was found. Push the menu button to load those settings. Those settings you can set in Rekordbox. I will go over those settings in the next video. Now you can see that we have over here all the stuff that we set in Rekordbox, and in this case I set a playlist. So we'll go with scroll wheel to playlist, press that, and you'll see that is my new playlist that I just created in Rekordbox. Now I can open a song and play it.
Don't forget to check out part 2 of this Getting Started Rekordbox tutorial.
If you have a question, leave it in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this Rekordbox tutorial, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching and bye.